That's what I'm saying. Why you fast forward stuff?
School year over.
Hey, all you do is fast forward everything.
Hey, look, school year over, man. Summertime. And you know how fast summertime go? School back.
Now it's 2020.
School back already. School back already.
Can you slow down just a little bit, though?
Huh?
Can you slow down just a tad bit?
Maybe that's my my pessimism.
Is it pessimism?
Maybe.
Hey, so today, what we chatted about today?
Whatever you tell me.
I thought.
You tell me.
I'll tell you.
Yeah, whatever you say. Let's go.
Hey,
I'm with that.
You with that?
Yeah.
So let's talk about this. Let's discuss.
I ain't got no paper, nothing.
You don't got nothing. Oh,
Nope.
Straight from the freestyle. Freestyle Friday. Hey, that should be something back in the day. Freestyle Friday.
I like that.
Freestyle Friday. Had that. Mentorship in black males. Do black males need more mentors, or do they need more discipline? That's kind of what we've been discussing kind of all week, just kind of trying to figure that piece out. More mentors or more discipline? More mentors or more discipline? What do black males need?
So that's a. So the question is phrased as a dichotomy. So it's one. Is there one answer?
Well, I didn't say there was.
No, I'm just saying. Is there? Many would say that there's an answer to that.
Yeah, I don't necessarily.
Maybe there is.
I would say let's do what you love to do.
What?
Let's want to deconstruct something.
Yeah, I don't mind that.
So let's deconstruct. What does discipline mean? What does mentorship mean?
There is no. Again, it's that thing of normal. Like I'm saying all the time, there is no normal. There would be no normal version of discipline. So I'm gonna be absolutely honest. I'm sure my mom watches these. Discipline in my house with Harlan and Bev meant that there was no necessarily any soft place to fall in terms of parenting. That my mom was gonna whoop your ass with that extension cord. That's discipline. Now, if you said that in today's age to parents, they would say, "Well, you're gonna end up in prison, jail for that. You can't do that." But that was normal. That's what I knew. I didn't know anything different than that's what Bev did. And I would have to be honest and say it was a pretty damn good deterrent for me. Whatever I did to get that ass whooping with that first time with that extension cord, I wasn't gonna do that same thing. Now I may mess up on something else. Whatever I did to get that one though, I learned. I don't want to do that again.
Is that the only form of discipline?
No. You can tell Johnny that you're disappointed in him. Maybe there's discipline to say I'm disappointed. That may be a form of discipline. Sitting in the corner. I mean, there's tons of forms of discipline. Are they effective? I think the first argument too is then if you're talking about discipline, can you get the same outcomes by reward? Not using discipline, the lack of discipline, but the use of reward. Maybe you get the same outcomes. Like I'm not going to discipline this kid. I'm just going to reward them for the behavior that I really like. Right?
Yeah. Okay.
I think there's a segment of so I know I'm using parenting is the thing that seems to stand out the most, but we can in our work talk about teachers too. That I'm going to absent myself of the discipline process and just reward for the behavior that I think is in line with what we are trying to accomplish. So I think you can kind of look at it from both sides in terms of that. This is beginning the deconstruction.
You see, I'm looking up.
It's the beginning.
I'm going to the dictionary
Of what?
See what discipline is, right?
Yeah. So I think there's probably tons of ways to look at it, view it, angle it.
There's a couple
I'm an
definitions.
authoritarian type parent in our household, where it's so I'm gonna come down heavy. Everybody be still. This is what we doing. You're not doing that. Don't talk. I'm talking. You don't talk when I'm talking. Everybody just listen. This is how it's gonna go. This is not up for discussion. Now everybody go execute what I just said. The authoritarian. It's a parenting style that I grew up knowing. My grandparents had authoritarian. My mom was authoritarian. I think my dad was, but he was sick a lot, so I don't really recall that. But so that's all I knew.
Yeah.
So that's all I give. And then two, Mike, it talks to that piece of when we come together in
Couples.
marriage,
Yeah.
that our job is to push forward our agenda that we had growing up. So you and Christine come together. Christine brings the agenda from her family. You bring the agenda from the Walker family. And then you begin to argue the agenda and forge a new agenda for your nuclear family, for you and the
becomes your
kids. It becomes our new normal, which could be like, so my mom shows up in town or my mother-in-law shows up at our home. They may say, well, what is that? Why are y'all doing that with the kids? Because Carrie's mom is saying, that's not normal that we grew up with. And I'm saying, my mom's saying, that's not normal what we did, but it's become our new normal. And that's only within the family or within the individual can you talk about a normal.
And then the kids will grow up and create a new normal for their
And they'll meet
family
somebody and
structure,
they'll forge and they'll say, well, this is what my mom and dad did. So is one right? No,
It's all practice at the end of the day.
it is.
It's all practice.
Yeah.
Right? I even think about, growing up in my household with my mom and dad, right? It wasn't no really authoritarian. It was definitely discussions.
So more democratic?
I wouldn't call it democratic though. I don't know if I was always talking.
So discussions.
I was like listening, right?
To
mom,
and dad,
yeah. Mostly my mom. She definitely did more to discipline for me growing up. But it was definitely opportunity for her to give me information of why I had to do certain things or why I did certain things. I was able to ask the question why, and she would explain it to me. Not all the time, but majority of the time that's how it worked. Now, did she use the belt? Hell yeah, she used the belt on occasion. But that wasn't her first form of discipline. But she definitely would get in my ass if I needed it, and I needed it sometimes, right? But I think I like that style resonated with me because that's how I learned best, right? But what I found out is when I got into the school system and I was asking why.
You don't like that?
They don't necessarily want you to ask why. They wanted you to just follow their rules, follow what they say, but never give you an explanation of why you do things that way.
No.
Right? And so my mom was really intentional about telling me this is what the hell you're going to do, but this is why you're going to do it. Does that make sense?
That sounds more like mentorship.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to get at. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she did that with me. Now, it may look different for my other siblings, so I can just speak for how our relationship was and what how our household was. So now, me as a parent, that's probably the lens that I take on is I'm always explaining to my kids why we do something, or ask them questions of why do you think we did it that way, or why was this important, or why was that important? How did that impact you and the rest of the kids, right? So I do a lot of that conversation. Now, is there times that I am authoritarian and will do some other things? Well, yeah, of course. Of course, but I lean to that one more than the other.
Yeah, it's because of what you know.
Yeah, that's what I grew with, and what worked for me. Right, it was my it was my learning style. I guess is how we look at that.
Yeah, I wouldn't ask no questions. You ain't, why you say, ain't no
Hold on, I'm not saying every time I could ask questions, but there was opportunities for me to ask
never
questions.
no questions, dog.
There were sometimes, no, shut your ass up and you about to get this. For sure. Every time it's for you.
Shut
And
your
I wasn't
ass up.
every time for it.
Then you learn don't ask no questions.
Yeah.
Be still. Hey, let me try to be still right here. Maybe it won't happen.
I remember trying to go to sleep early though because you knew you was about to get that whooping.
Yeah.
I'm trying to go to sleep.
It never worked though.
It didn't matter.
never
But you tried to go sleep because you think, well, they ain't whooping while I'm asleep.
No, you gonna wake up with it.
They gonna still get you.
Oh God.
They will still get
And
you.
you hear the door try to pretend.
I remember my last. No, I'm gonna bring that story.
You hear the door try to pretend.
Like you sleep.
I know, hey, you rolled up in 5 blankets. Goodness, hey, you got me reliving trauma.
So there's discipline versus mentorship, right? How does that translate to the schools, right? Because in schools we tend to discipline students, right? We want to provide consequences, right? I mean, the forms that we have in school that are readily available to us is usually sending students out of class. So that's a referral out of class. In-school suspension, where they go to some space within the school for an extended period of time, whether that's 2 class periods or a whole day. And then we have the one that's out of school suspension, right? So how often are we using those tools? And then when we look at those tools, do they really work? and get the result that we want, which is change behavior.
Well, you beat. I mean, it's not much different than Toby versus Kunta Kinte. I'm gonna beat this into you. You may not love it or really believe it, but I'm gonna beat it into you. So I'm gonna refer it into you. I'm gonna trouble you into abiding by the rules and control mechanisms in our building. So I think, does it work? I guess we'd have to deconstruct what work means.
Well, yeah, exactly. What does work
mean? Because one of the things I think about mentorship, if you think about school systems, mentorship is usually something that's brought in from the outside. It's not usually teachers mentoring. Is it?
No, but I think it should be.
Yeah, but I'm saying normally,
no, typically it's not, right?
If they're talking about mentorship programs, they're saying the Boys and Girls Club is going to come into our school.
Big Brothers, Big Sisters.
Big Brothers and Big Sisters are going to come in.
Target Corporation is going to come in and mentor our students.
So outsiders will come in and mentor, will discipline.
School staff.
The school staff will do the discipline. But the support mechanisms will come from outside, which is a little, I don't know, maybe families operate in a similar way. I don't know. Discipline came from within my family, but support came from within my family. Yeah. So it wasn't outside of the family. I know it was possible to have others. Uncle Chuck was somebody I knew that was in the Sunday school. He wasn't really my uncle, but he was a support mechanism anytime I was in the church. Now, I don't know if it was support that I liked, because he was a disciplinarian. Right? But now
everybody around you is disciplinarian. That's what I'm starting to hear around your story.
See, but living in a little small, rural community, very small black community, hey, they all watching us.
Yeah, it was like that in Gary, Indiana, where I grew up for my first 10, 11 years. Yeah, it was
So
definitely everybody on the block knew who you belonged to.
Was.
And that's a kid, and I'm telling your granddaddy, and I'm gonna pop you too before you get over there.
Get over here, boy.
Well, you didn't do, but you know, you didn't act a fool in front of them because you knew they had the ability to pop you.
And so that means that we should start to beat the kids, huh? I mean, what is that? It doesn't mean that, right?
I'm not saying that.
No,
I'm just saying it worked though.
Okay, yeah. It did work in my neighborhood. It worked for us. You can't. I mean, this is a new day and age.
Yeah.
So that one. That doesn't necessarily.
But I think you bring something up about you're going basically saying about the village, right? The community.
Yeah.
So how do we get the school to function as part of the community again? Because it's almost been separated a little bit.
Well, how you do? Huh? You got to get the community to be part of the school. That you got to have them folks that are in the community working in the school.
For sure.
Right? But the school as a whole, the educational system as a whole, doesn't value the cat walking down the street that all the kids know and like, that is at the rec center and they know and like him, but he doesn't have a BA, may not have a degree, but is engaged in the community. The academic world and the educational realm says, well, you don't have any letters behind your name though. So there's no job for you really here. And if I do bring you into work, it will only be to discipline those kids that mostly look like you. So I'll bring you in, but I'm going to let you know. So here's where you are on the hierarchy. It's way down here. Teachers and admin are up here. So your job is to make sure to discipline these kids and come down with a heavy hand, so we don't get our hands dirty. Your job is to get your hands dirty. And it sounds like you're pretty good at it. The kids like you. So if you have to get them in trouble, we can stay clean. You can be the dirty guy, right? So now but instead of so what we've done in our work, what you've pushed a hell of a lot in a beautiful way, is to say, I'm bringing men from the community. I ain't worried about this, that, or the other. I'm bringing men that are stand up in the community. I think of my guy Jamil. Bring them in to do supportive, therapeutic teaching, mentorship, coaching work with black males in the school system. That is abnormal. And that's not happening. If you go across the country and go to a school, just stop in Connecticut, stop in Oklahoma, and talk, hey, tell me how many community-based folks are working as teachers in your building that don't have a teaching license. They're going to laugh at you.
For sure.
Why are you even talking to me about that? We don't do that. All right? We need teaching licenses. Only the community-based thing is not important to us.
Yeah, but It has to be important.
Well, it doesn't have to be.
It should be. I know you always say it doesn't have to be.
But that's true.
I know that is true, but
Yeah. Because I always like to put things out you can't argue with. You can't argue with that, can you?
you can't.
Yeah, there you go. I like that.
But it should be important.
Not that you see me get it.
Yeah, it should be
It
important.
should be.
It definitely should be
It
important.
should be important.
Because if it's important, the students see that value.
Yeah.
And now it makes them value the school a little bit differently.
Mm-hmm.
It makes them see that, oh, the people inside of the building are also the people that are outside of the building that I
Yes.
see every day
Yep.
at the local Cub Foods or
Yeah.
Target or whatever grocery store in
Pick
your
it.
neighborhood
Yep.
or corner store, whatever. Right? So now there is that. I can tell your mom because I know your mom
Yeah.
and I know your dad.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I know your older brother and I know your uncles and your cousins.
Community-based learning.
Yeah.
Community-based collaborative learning.
So now when I come into that space, it feels like home.
Yes.
I feel like I ain't going into a separate entity, a separate space with strangers.
Yeah, but
With strangers.
with strangers. But look,
I'm going into a school with strangers.
so I want to equate that to getting off of a ship in the Middle Passage and going into the strangeness of the new master's world. There's an equation. There's some parallel pieces in that stranger. As I walk into this school, I know what's set up for me. I know these teachers don't make all them most often may not love me the way my community
Side
does.
note, massa, right?
Yeah, schoolmaster.
I know, but that term, right, massa, they try to connect it that the black folks didn't know how to say the term, but actually that term is it a Hebrew word?
Is it?
Massa, and it means oppressor.
Oh
So they wasn't
no,
mispronouncing it. They were saying this is the oppressor
Yeah.
on my back.
Yeah.
I forgot where I just read that at, but I read it somewhere.
makes
But I just
sense.
want to throw it out there. Now go ahead and finish it.
I don't know what
your
the point
statement.
was. I don't know what.
About the Middle Passage, and we come into a foreign land.
Yeah. So when you talk about it feels like home inside the school when you have community members inside the school working and doing that piece, it would feel comfortable. But this educational system was not set up for our comfort. It would be quite clear.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it wasn't set up for us to feel comfortable. Actually set up to some degree to always keep us uncomfortable. And if you get comfortable, you'll begin to learn. I'm comfortable. All right, let's learn this. Or if you get too comfortable, you will settle for not learning at all. So I guess it's one extreme or the other.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know where we stand as a community currently in terms of educational engagement. But I have a lot of people talking to me about why I moved my kid from one school to another. And the argument that I tend to continue to have with people is, explain to me what school is for. Explain to me what school really means to you. And then one of the things, well, it's got to have rigor. I get that. It's got to have rigor, but you shouldn't have rigor without relevance. But the thing that I catch people on all the time is well, you want it to be stern and they want to be this. And I said, so tell me, rewind to, let's pick a thing, 10th grade biology.
Yeah, you're going to be none of learning targets.
Give me a number of things that you learned in 10th grade biology. And then let's go through geometry. Let's tell me what you learned in geometry in the 11th grade. And they'll laugh at you, meaning I didn't really learn it. I held on to it for a moment, regurgitated it to a teacher that gave me an A or a B or whatever, and then I moved on. So I didn't learn it. So is school about, if we were to be honest about what school is about the regurgitation of certain standards to get certain grades that will allow me to move on and do that again and again and again? Or is it about dissecting and being critical thinkers and critical questioners and critical conversationists around subject matter that may find itself being more relevant? Which one is it really about? I don't think it's the latter. I think it's a regurgitating process. I don't remember. I remember Mr. Culberson.
There's certain
in
things
biology.
you remember. I hear you, but
Small
the
pieces.
vast majority of it, yeah, you don't recall.
I remember Mr. Culberson in 10th grade biology, and trying to teach about chlorophyll or something in biology. But what do I remember more about 10th grade biology? Don, my friend Don, that was in my class that we got in trouble laughing and talking all the time for. and I'm still friends with 30 years later. I remember that.
And y'all probably talk about biology.
We talk about it every time I see Don. And we on Facebook we laugh about. Remember Mr. Copus' class? You always got in trouble, and you brought me down with you. So I remember that vividly.
Yeah.
So
and that's a feeling though, right?
That's an emotion.
It's an emotion. So we definitely remember emotions.
Yeah.
Probably a lot more readily than we remember the technical pieces of school, which talks about, so what are we doing in school? Do we want to have it be where it's more technical, or where we are leaning on more emotions with our students? I think that's the rub that everybody's having with education, trying to figure out what's the best way to proceed. What's the best use of the time? Because, the time that we have them in our buildings, the time that we have them in our schools, the time we have them in classes, right? Like, I don't know who came up with these, 55-minute class periods is the best time to get this information done. That's just arbitrary, probably. I don't know the history. Maybe I should look at the history of that, but why do we have these certain time frames, and why do we say this is the amount of time you need for that class for it to be legitimate and you earn a credit in that space?
See, so it's got to be relevant. So I know that our students are amazed when we begin to talk about the story of Imhotep, the first doctor in the world. And they said the first doctor was black. What was his name? Imhotep. I didn't know that. So that information in 10th grade, when you're 40, you'll remember that. You're still talking about it.
Well, because it connected to me.
It's connected, right? So if it's not connected to me in a relevant way, I don't care how rigorous the curriculum is. It doesn't matter. Because it didn't connect to me. It doesn't. And actually what I'll do is, if I'm good enough, I'll remember it long enough to do well on the test that asked the question, what was chlorophyll? All right, I held that long enough, and then once I'm done with it, I don't care what chlorophyll. It doesn't. I may never again in my life talk about it. I don't care what that is. But if there's a connection to me and my community and my upbringing in some information, if you tell me that chemistry is really the study of ancient Kemet, ancient Africa, ancient Egypt, where my people come from, I would say, well, maybe I should. That's what chemistry means. Maybe I need to engage in chemistry a little more because it connects to me. Absent that connection, I'm good. I don't want to do this. It's not interesting to me. And that don't mean I can't get an A. I'll get an A or a B in there, but I memorized it and I don't care about that. Right? It didn't excite my learning. It didn't ignite anything in me. Could care less.
So do we need mentors or more? Look, I'm bringing this back to what we started off with, because
I don't even know what we started with.
We started with mentors and discipline. So do we need more mentors or discipline? With that process that you're talking about how we learn and what we are trying to learn, I will always stand on the side that teachers are mentors.
They can be.
They are. They should be. I know you're gonna have your angle, so you can have your angle.
Yeah, no angle.
Yeah, you have your angle you want. I'm saying teachers are mentors.
No, they're not.
Because they are in the well.
No. You don't say that.
What you can say all teachers ain't teachers either then.
Okay, I may follow you on that.
I know you will, because I'm just saying. So we can always say
all teachers are not mentors.
All teachers ain't teachers either.
Yeah, okay, I'm with you. Okay, I'm with you.
However,
they should be mentors.
Okay.
All teachers should be mentors.
That's what I'm saying.
They're not, though.
If you are in front of babies every single day and you're not a mentor and you don't see them as valuable, why are you in a profession?
I get to pay my mortgage.
I know we've had this conversation before, but why are you in a profession?
Pay my mortgage.
I know, but we need to stop doing it just to pay our mortgage.
I know. I'm not arguing.
We need to stop doing it just to pay our mortgage or get whatever, because really you ain't gonna really get a whole lot of money in education. It's not like you make millions and whatnot. I guess over the life of your career you could make upwards to $1 million.
But you ain't making no big money.
But you ain't making no big money, no. So if you in here, you actually in here for the work, the engagement,
You might have started for that.
Yeah. So how do we keep that going with our educators? Yeah, how do we keep that going with educators? Because I have to believe that they all went into it with good intentions, right? I have to believe that. No one's picking certain careers like, I'm gonna go do teaching. I hate these people. I'm gonna teach. I don't care. I'm just gonna do this for 40 years and be cool.
But I think it would be like basketball or football. I went into the NBA. I loved it. I love this game. I love it. But then I get jaded by the business side of the game.
Yeah.
But I don't quit. I'm going to get this bread. But I don't love it anymore. I don't love basketball or football anymore. But I'm good enough to continue to get these multi-million-dollar years.
So I'm gonna write down.
So I'm gonna get this money
till I can't do it no more.
Yeah, I'm just gonna get this. This bread is available. I'm about to get it, But I absolutely almost hate basketball. 6 years into my career, I hate it. It's a business. It just is. It almost sickens me. And I was the reason I got here is because I loved it so much. But if I hate it 6 years in, I may have 10 more years left in my career.
So when you argue that side, right? So then what to do? What to do with that?
Many will stay and get that bread.
No. So what to do with that?
What do you mean?
What do you do with the people who are thinking like that? How do you get them to change? What do you do? Because I hear you on that side, right? So you bring that up, and then for me, I'm saying, okay, so if that's what we believe, if that's what we think is true, then what are we gonna do to change that or adjust that?
Yeah.
Because if we're just saying that's what it is, we done with it. Well, shit. Who are we? Why are we in the work? Why are we trying to do this? Why are we trying to make?
Well, I think it's the key is that you can't legislate morality, so you can't make anyone care. But what you can do is make it hot on their ass when they walk in that building. That the climate and culture in this building is going to always be poking at you like, hey, you don't fit here anymore. Yeah, you're not passionate about this. You don't love the process like we do. The climate and culture in this building is that we love the kids in a different way, that we were aunts and uncles, and you're not playing that role. So we can't push you, we can't make you leave, but we can make it hot on you. The climate and the culture in our space, you think about our work. You couldn't come into our office and not get down the way we get down. Or you'll leave.
So
it'll be hot on you.
But let me ask a question though: is our way the right way?
That's all I know. It's right for me.
I know, but that's the point I'm making. So there may be folks who come into other schools or other spaces and say, "Yeah, that's cool, but I got a better way."
Yeah, well, go find somebody else that does that.
I got a different way, right?
Yeah.
So are schools not open to hearing other perspectives?
I don't know what they are.
No, I'm just saying. So now I'm doing what you're doing, arguing the other side.
No.
So should schools not? Yeah. So should schools not be over there? You don't like this? You
I'm ready to go. You just give me the flow.
Go ahead.
So if there is somebody that's in my space, our space, that we have said, here's the climate and culture that we see as leadership in this space as most effective.
Yeah.
If you come in there and you don't fit that mold, you may have some different thoughts and feelings. I'm not saying that you're a bad person, but that's not how we do it. So if you want to do it that way, you might need to go find another space that is more conducive to the way you see it. But in this space, the climate and culture is this. So you got to get down this way. Is that the only way? No. But that is the way that we found to be most effective and impactful for the targeted population that we're interested in. So if you don't get like that, then you got to go there.
So you just said something that may be what it is. So has the system said to black and brown families, this is what we are. Mm-hmm. This is the targeted population that we are interested in.
Yeah.
So if you want to get down, this is how you got to get down.
Probably.
You must leave.
Well, so they.
Or we're gonna kick you out, or we want you to assimilate to what we are doing.
I think federal dollars may not allow them to do that as effectively as they would want.
But they find loopholes to do it. Is what I'm saying. Is that the discipline, referral out of class?
Yeah, the ways to push you to that
in-school
point.
suspension, out-of-school suspension.
So then, and maybe we need to close soon because it's going to move into a whole new. Then, in my mind, the question that we always begin to discuss is integration the best thing? It may be that you're saying those schools ain't never going to work for y'all. It's just not going to work. And that doesn't mean you won't find some successes. There'll be people that do okay and end up flourishing that look like us. But overall, that educational process is never going to really be fully beneficial for black and brown students. So then when do you have the discussion of separate but equal? When do you have the discussion of what has happened since integration and has it been impactful and effective for all?
Separate and equal.
Yeah, right? So then it's a conversational move of, I guess we don't even talk about that anymore. That integration must have been the best practice of the time, and it must stand as the best practice forever. That integration is but that's the overarching.
Oh, yeah.
It's what the sense that I get. And you're almost an asshole if you start saying something different.
Yeah.
Right? So I obviously don't mean to be an asshole. Maybe that's my family tells me I am. I mean, that's just part of that. I get that from Bev. Bev did that. But one of the things is we should be able to have those conversations in earnest without being considered assholes, saying we're just trying to do what's best for all kids. That system that's been set up has done pretty well for white students all along.
Yeah.
It has, but it hasn't done well for all students.
And I said this a few times. Is sometimes I think maybe the real formative years is when that separate and equal should definitely take place. The early years of when I'm trying to figure out who I am, the foundational years. Where's that foundation? So that when I enter spaces that are white and whatever, at least I got a strong sense of who I am. And now I can engage within that other system quite well because I'm not lacking for what my worth is, because the other system hasn't taught us who we are and what our worth is. It's absent in that curriculum. It's absent in that school system. And not to say completely, because there are some teachers who definitely do a good job of bringing that to the forefront. But overall, what's been provided as curriculum and whatnot has not been the traditional sense of learning about who we are in a positive
in a positive way.
Yeah, in a positive frame. Definitely in a negative frame. So no, I get that, and I definitely am on board with something that would be looking to keep us together and with folks that genuinely love us. Right, and I'm not saying white folks can't genuinely love us, but I need that real love that's gonna watch out for me and gonna pop me when I need to be popped too.
That's right.
Because I do need to be popped sometimes.
Yeah. So as we close, the one thing that
we closing?
I don't know if
we can close. Go ahead. You gotta close the show. You said that was a conversation because we can go on for 2 hours. I got you.
No, because we're about to move into a whole new realm.
Yeah. So maybe next episode is we talk about
integration, segregation.
Yeah. We
equal, but
separate and equal.
Yeah. So we should give some props to Inside News for hosting us, and where we are every time we tape it. Inside News is the Marcus Garvey House.
Yeah.
And so when we talk, it's connected to what we just discussed. Because Marcus Garvey was saying, "Hey, we got to get up out of here." Right? Marcus Garvey said something. They asked him about saying something about being hung. He said, "There's millions of substantial oak trees between here and Africa. We can have a hanging party tonight. What you want to do?" Hey, Marcus was a G. Leave Marcus alone.
Yeah, we'll dig into that stuff. We'll dig into that next episode.
Yeah.
Appreciate y'all listening, man. Critical Harmony.
We out.